Stop trying to impress powerful people. Start positioning yourself where they cannot ignore you. If you fail to understand this, you will spend your life orbiting influential circles without ever entering their gravity. You want access. You want alliances. You want doors to open that stay invisible to ordinary men. But you make one fatal mistake. You think connections happen through charm. They don't. They happen through strategy. Powerful people don't respond to friendliness. They respond to value, clarity, and consequence. You leak status every time you approach with eagerness. You reveal need, and need is contemptible in every hierarchy. You try to be liked when you should be establishing utility. You speak when silence would elevate you. You reveal your intentions when you should be concealing them behind a controlled mask. Every misstep lowers your social rank long before your words reach any ears. You rise only when you behave like someone who already belongs above. That's the unspoken law Machiavelli would point toward. Never approach power as a subordinate seeking approval. Approach as a strategic equal offering leverage. Powerful people calculate. They are surrounded by noise, flattery, and opportunists. When you act like them, measured, calm, deliberate, they see you as someone worth noticing. When you act like everyone else, you blend into the background. Your presence must communicate intelligence before your mouth opens. Your composure must signal that you cannot be manipulated. Your silence must feel intentional. Your movements must be economical, not eager. Power respects power, even in small doses. Everything else is ignored. Stop trying to force conversations. Start forcing curiosity. Powerful individuals operate through scarcity. They pay attention only to what stands apart. When you carry yourself like someone who doesn't chase, you become a rarity. Rarity creates value, and value grants access. If you want to rise, you must mimic the architecture of influence: cold clarity, purposeful restraint, and controlled information. That is the first unwritten law of social climbing. Never reveal more than you must. Reveal only what elevates you. The mechanism behind this is simple. People of high status evaluate others through filters. They look for composure, boundaries, and strategic awareness. They test reactions. They observe how easily you lose your frame. The moment you become reactive, eager, or emotional, you disqualify yourself. Your behavior signals that you are not accustomed to standing near power. Silence, on the other hand, elevates you. Stillness elevates you. Selective speech elevates you. They suggest that you're not fighting for entry. You're deciding whether the room is worth your time. That inversion of desire is the core of Machiavellian positioning. Once you control that, you control perception. Now you follow the protocol. 1. Define your value before you approach anyone influential. What leverage do you provide? What problem do you solve? If you can't answer that, you're not ready to climb. 2. Enter every room slowly. Control your pace. Your calmness forces others to adjust to you. It's a subtle dominance move. 3. Observe first. Speak second. Let others reveal their intentions before you commit yours. Information is a weapon. Gather it. 4. Engage with precision. One question, one comment, one insight. Powerful people remember clarity, not volume. 5. Exit when the interaction peaks. Leaving early creates demand. Staying too long creates contempt. The most common mistake is trying too hard. You talk too much, smile too often, over-explain your presence. You think that displaying friendliness creates connection, but friendliness toward power reads as desperation. You should replace that behavior with disciplined minimalism. Fewer words, fewer reactions, fewer signals. This forces others to interpret you, which makes you psychologically larger. The first scene anchor is simple. Imagine you walk into a corporate gathering. People seek approval, laugh loudly, greet everyone with excessive warmth, but you hold your pace. You move like someone with an internal mission. When someone powerful speaks, you listen, not with admiration, but with analysis. They notice your restraint. They notice your calm curiosity. They start wondering who you are. because you're the only one not trying to be seen. Second anchor, you're invited to a dinner with influential friends of friends. Others compete subtly for attention. They perform social gymnastics. You remain grounded. You ask measured questions about their projects, strategies, and interests. You don't overshare. You don't seek validation. Your silence becomes a mirror. They fill it with their ambitions. They begin to associate you with intelligence because you make them articulate themselves better. The closing image is the moment when they start inviting you into conversations you didn't force your way into. Your presence becomes a signal of quality. Your restraint becomes influence. And your strategy becomes the silent architect of your ascent. If this shifted your understanding, keep walking this path. Only disciplined minds advance into the circles others only dream about. Powerful people measure the world through patterns. They evaluate who understands hierarchy without needing explanation. When your presence communicates structure, discipline, and strategic awareness, they instinctively categorize you as someone worth respecting. When your presence communicates eagerness, noise, or emotional volatility, they categorize you as background. Their attention is a scarce resource. Their alliance is rarer still. You gain proximity only by behaving as someone who carries internal authority, not external desperation. You rise through calibration. You fall through indiscretion. This is why your next evolution demands an internal shift. You must stop thinking of powerful people as superior. Think of them as filters. Filters for competence. Filters for psychological strength. Filters for strategic intelligence. They are not choosing friends. They are choosing assets, allies, extensions of their influence. When you present yourself as someone who strengthens their world, you pass the filter. When you present yourself as someone who drains attention, you get discarded without acknowledgement. You must understand this mechanism deeply. Influence flows upward toward stability, not downward toward chaos. They don't care about your likability. They care about your reliability. They care about your judgment. They care about your ability to stay composed when others fracture. That composure is a currency. Silence is a currency. Precision is a currency. These are the currencies you must use. Stop assuming conversations are won through enthusiasm. Conversations are won through leverage, through emotional neutrality, through controlled timing. Powerful people watch for emotional leaks the same way predators watch for weakness in a herd. The smallest slip becomes an unspoken verdict. The smallest overreaction becomes an invisible barrier. When you remain unshaken, they recalibrate their perception of you. You become someone who cannot be easily moved. That alone makes you valuable. Hold your frame no matter what. If they ignore you briefly, remain unmoved. Indifference communicates strength. The moment you try to force recognition, you destroy the very illusion that raises you. You must appear self-contained. You must appear governed by your own internal agenda. When you give the impression that your path does not depend on their approval, they start treating you like someone they must win over, not someone they can overlook. This is why silence is your strategic weapon. When you speak less, your words weigh more. When you observe more, your insights become sharper. When you reveal less, your mystique grows. Mystery is not accidental. It is engineered. When you restrict access, you trigger curiosity. Curiosity triggers attention. Attention triggers opportunity. This chain reaction is the hidden ladder of social climbing. Never underestimate the psychological power of scarcity. When something is rare, the mind assigns value automatically. When you behave like everyone else, you become abundant and therefore cheap. When you behave like someone with access to inner worlds, deeper thoughts, and strategic restraint, you become scarce. Scarcity forces the powerful to reassess you. It's one of the deepest Machiavellian principles. The mind pursues what is difficult to obtain. Your goal is not to impress powerful people. Your goal is to intrigue them. People are drawn to what they cannot immediately decode. They want to resolve mystery. They want to understand what they cannot read. They want to categorize what evades categorization. You rise by triggering that psychological need. Your demeanor becomes an unanswered question. Your silence becomes a door partially open. Your presence becomes a puzzle with missing pieces. That's how you enter their mind long before you enter their circle. Now the second half of your protocol begins. You must shape your social presence into an asset. If powerful individuals cannot define you, they will observe you. If they observe you, they will eventually test you. If you pass the test, then they will grant you access. But if they categorize you prematurely, if you appear predictable, emotional, needy, or directionless, they will never reevaluate their initial judgment. First impressions in power circles are not impressions. They are verdicts. This is where your posture must shift. You must structure your identity as if you're already inside the room you want to enter. You must behave like someone who belongs to higher-level environments, meaning your speech becomes measured, your reactions become slow, your presence becomes intentional, your boundaries become firm, your self-respect becomes visible without announcement. Powerful people sense internal order instantly. They also sense internal chaos instantly. If you approach them while carrying insecurities that scream for validation, they will detect it within seconds. If you approach carrying silence, clarity, and controlled desire, they will respect you before they know your name. Respect always precedes familiarity in their world. They are surrounded by emotional chaos. If you bring chaos to them, you offer nothing they need. If you bring stability, you offer them something they cannot buy. This is your greatest advantage. Stability is rare. You build stability by never over-explaining, by never apologizing for existing, by never shrinking your presence, by never inflating it either. Your power lies in neutrality, not coldness, but clarity without attachment. You're not trying to win them. You're evaluating them. This is the psychological inversion that turns their interest toward you. Consider the first deep scenario. You are in a networking event, and someone influential enters the room. Everyone gravitates toward them. People smile excessively, shake hands too vigorously, talk too loudly, trying to signal familiarity. But you remain still. You don't rush. You observe them the way they observe the room. When your eyes meet briefly, you hold the gaze, not with intensity, but with calm neutrality. You don't look away quickly. You don't smile eagerly. You simply acknowledge. That single moment communicates self-possession. They notice it because no one else does it. This anchor plants you in their mind. The second scenario takes place at a private gathering hosted by a friend of a friend. Someone powerful is present. They speak. Others cling to their words. You listen quietly, arms relaxed, body still. When discussion shifts to something you have competence in, you add a short, sharp observation. Just one. Not a speech, not a performance. A single sentence that reframes the topic with clarity. Silence follows. They look at you, evaluating. You don't fill the silence. They do. Because you've demonstrated intelligence without showing need. This is how you create psychological gravity. Your presence becomes an anchor in the room. Others orbit you without understanding why. Powerful people sense when another mind is operating at their level. You demonstrate this through restraint, not display, through precision, not volume, through silence, not explanation. Let the final image settle. A room full of voices chasing recognition, and you, calm, unreadable, quietly radiating internal authority. Powerful people don't admire charm, they admire control. And now you carry the one signal they cannot ignore. If this sharpened you, remember, only strategic minds rise. Only disciplined minds stay. Only the rare climb. You don't rise by chasing powerful people. You rise by becoming someone they instinctively classify as an equal. That reclassification does not happen through charm or friendliness. It happens through the slow, deliberate construction of psychological weight. This weight comes from your ability to remain unshaken, unreadable, and strategically selective with your energy. When you master this, power begins moving toward you instead of away from you. Stop giving everyone access to your mind. Limit your availability. Limit your disclosure. Limit your emotional visibility. The fewer signals you reveal, the more others must evaluate you through inference. Inference generates curiosity. Curiosity generates value. Value generates elevation. That is the Machiavellian chain of ascent. Your next law is simple. Become the person powerful individuals feel compelled to understand. They will never pursue someone predictable. They will never value someone transparent. They will never respect someone reactive. These qualities belong to the masses, and the masses are invisible to hierarchical minds. Your strength is built in the shadows, not in displays. Every action must be shaped to imply that you carry knowledge others do not, stability others cannot maintain, and ambition others cannot sustain. Your objective is to project these qualities without stating them. Stated strength is fragile. Implied strength is absolute. Understand the mechanism behind this. Powerful people operate under constant pressure. Their world is filled with sycophants, opportunists, manipulators, and attention seekers. Every interaction drains energy. Every conversation must be filtered. They evaluate people quickly, sometimes brutally, because their time is a battlefield. When you approach them without taking from them, without demanding validation or attention, they feel a rare sense of ease. Ease becomes trust. Trust becomes access. Carry yourself like someone who gives energy, not someone who takes it. If you remain composed under subtle disrespect, they notice. If you maintain stability when others escalate, they notice. If you never rush, never chatter, never reveal insecurity, they notice. Every powerful individual has an almost predatory instinct for psychological imbalance. When they cannot find it in you, they reclassify you upward. Hold your internal stillness. That stillness is not passivity. It is controlled readiness. It signals that you can withstand tension. Tension is the environment where powerful people live. If you can survive their world without fracturing, you become part of it. Now you refine the protocol for entry into elite social circles. 1. Eliminate social desperation. You never seek approval. You never chase proximity. You enter spaces with the calm detachment of someone who belongs there. 2. Cultivate strategic anonymity. Let others wonder who you are before you speak. That wonder becomes leverage. 3. Speak rarely but decisively. Your words must feel intentional, not impulsive. Intentional words elevate. Impulsive words expose. 4. Offer a single point of value. Not a monologue. Not a sales pitch. One insight sharp enough to be remembered. 5. Exit interactions with perfect timing. Leave them wanting more. Never overstay. Scarcity generates demand. Most people get this wrong because they believe social climbing is about networking, friendliness, extroversion, and making everyone like them. That mindset belongs to the powerless. Real influence is about architecture, building yourself into a figure others find difficult to ignore. The antidote to common failure is simple. Never reveal your hunger. Hunger is vulnerability. Hunger is dependence. Hunger places you beneath the person you desire connection with. Replace hunger with sovereignty. Replace longing with evaluation. Replace eagerness with precision. 2 scenario anchors will sharpen this further. In the first, you attend an event where you know influential individuals will be present. Most attendees circulate anxiously, hunting for introductions, manufacturing small talk, performing significance, but you do not move like them. You hold your posture. Your steps are slow, exact, unhurried. When you observe the room, you do so not as a guest seeking approval, but as a strategist assessing a landscape. When approached, your responses are clean, concise, grounded. The powerful notice this difference instantly. You don't operate in their emotional frequency. You operate above it. In the second scenario, a high-status individual tests you. They interrupt you, dismiss a comment, or intentionally give you less attention than you deserve. Most people crumble under this pressure. Their body language collapses. Their tone shifts. They try harder. You don't. You maintain the same calm intensity as before. You neither retreat nor chase. This non-reactivity forces them to reassess you. They expected compliance. You delivered composure. That single moment upgrades you in their mental hierarchy. Your task now is to reinforce this identity in every environment. Power responds to consistent signals. You must eliminate all behaviors that dilute your presence. Oversharing, nervous laughter, excessive compliments, filler speech, emotional leakage, defensive explanations. These weaken your frame. They lower your perceived rank. They push you downward. Instead, you build a frame of controlled sharpness. Your words become tools, not noise. Your silence becomes structure. Your posture becomes communication. Your habits become armor. You are no longer someone seeking entry into higher circles. You are someone creating gravitational pull. Hold the final image. A room full of ambitious people trying to climb upward through noise. And you, quiet, steady, calculating, rising through silence. You connect not by chasing, but by changing the psychological air around you. The powerful gravitate to what stabilizes them. They gravitate to what mirrors their self-image. They gravitate to what carries unspoken strength. If this recalibrated your understanding, keep going. The ascent is not for everyone, only for those who sharpen themselves into something the powerful cannot overlook. Powerful people do not operate by emotion. They operate by positioning. If your presence helps them preserve their status, expand their influence, or sharpen their own strategic image, they will move closer to you. If your presence introduces uncertainty, noise, or emotional instability, they will distance themselves before the conversation ends. You must become the person who brings structure into the environment, not turbulence. Stop trying to be relatable. Start becoming undeniable. Relatability is for crowds. Indispensability is for elites. Your value must be felt, not advertised. This is why emotional neutrality is essential. If you react quickly, you reveal inner chaos. If you pause before speaking, you reveal inner authority. That pause becomes your signature. It creates psychological space that others unconsciously respect. You are not trying to impress them. You are allowing them to study you. The mind becomes intrigued by what it cannot immediately understand. Your behavior must be built around that principle. Every conversation is an exchange of signals. Every word reveals structure or lack of it. You rise by controlling those signals. You fall by leaking them. Consider how quickly people expose themselves. They ramble to fill silence. They over-justify opinions. They talk about their intentions before acting on them. You delete all of that. You speak with the economy of someone whose thoughts carry weight. You project the presence of someone who calculates before engaging. This alone separates you from 95% of your competition. Never forget the Machiavellian law. People judge your capability long before they judge your character. If your presence feels sharp and ordered, your character is assumed strong. If your presence feels chaotic or disorganized, your character is assumed weak. This is why you must master the psychological game of impression architecture. You control the room before you contribute anything to it. Your body language, stillness, tone, pace, and silence create the environment others feel while interacting with you. Influence happens before dialogue. Stop underestimating subtlety. Influence is won in micro moments. A half-second delay before answering. A calm inhale when others escalate. A steady gaze that doesn't flinch. A downward tilt of the chin signaling evaluation. A still posture that doesn't collapse into submission. These microscopic signals accumulate into a powerful message. I cannot be moved. That is the message powerful people are always scanning for. They trust those who remain centered. They distrust those who collapse under social tension. Now, understand the hierarchy inside every social environment. There are 4 types of people. 1. Those who seek power. 2. Those who fear power. 3. Those who imitate power. 4. Those who embody power without announcing it. Only the fourth group rises. The first appears hungry. The second appears timid. The third appears performative. Only the fourth appears inevitable. Your goal is inevitability. To become inevitable, you must make your social presence feel stable, strategic, and self-governed. You stop chasing conversations and start filtering them. You stop trying to be included and start choosing where to invest your presence. You stop selling yourself and start demonstrating depth. A powerful person cannot resist someone who communicates value without begging for recognition. In elite environments, silence is louder than charm. Restraint is stronger than persuasion. Consistency is more impressive than charisma. Your next tactic is crucial. Mirror the internal world of powerful individuals, not the external behaviors of them. Most people try to copy fashion, speech patterns, or attitudes. That is surface-level mimicry. It exposes you. You rise by mirroring the internal traits instead: calm under pressure, delayed emotional response, strategic observation, self-contained purpose, lack of neediness, boundary awareness, long-term thinking. These inner qualities are what powerful people truly respect because they reflect competence. Competence is the ultimate social currency. Imagine entering a room where someone influential is scanning faces. Most people show hunger through posture. You show sovereignty. They feel the difference before they understand it. They sense that you are operating from a place of internal structure. This magnetic contrast pulls them closer. They begin conversations with you not because you chased them, but because you became psychologically compelling. Your next move is to maintain this frame in every interaction. Break it once, and you slide back into the mass of forgettable behavior, but hold it consistently, and you ascend into their memory. Influence is established through repetition of controlled signals. Never underestimate the cognitive effect of consistency. Consistency signals identity. Identity signals strength. Strength signals value. Value creates access. Now picture the final scenario: a long table where powerful individuals gather. Conversations shift rapidly. Opinions clash. Tension rises. Most people try to speak more to maintain relevance. You do the opposite. You listen, absorbing every conflict point, every insecurity, every hierarchy shift in the dialogue. When you finally speak, you deliver one sentence that reframes the issue with clean logic. The room quiets. You do not smile. You do not look around for approval. You let the silence settle around your words. That silence becomes your signature. This is the moment you enter their world. Your presence becomes associated with clarity. Your mind becomes associated with strength. Your restraint becomes associated with intelligence. Powerful people seek alliances with those who make them sharper. You become that person through silence, observation, and strategic contribution. Your ascent is not dramatic. It is subtle, Machiavellian, intentional, and it ends with you sitting at tables you once believed were unreachable, not because you forced your way in, but because they pulled you closer. If this sharpened your understanding, remember, few can walk this path. Only the ones who cultivate silence, strength, and strategic restraint rise into the circles others only dream of entering. If this recalibrated your standard, remember it the next time they test your discipline. Stay in this circle. Only the sharp, the selective, and the self-governed belong here. Subscribe and continue the ascent.